Greetings from ManageEngine, Desktop Central, and this is all about our Desktop Central asset management training. I request you to please confirm on the chat whether you're able to hear my voice and view the presentation slides. Thank you. Right. So about me, I'm going to be your trainer. My name is Leonard, and I'm in the industry for more than a decade, and with ManageEngine of 6 years. I predominantly assist the customers in implementing Desktop Central OS deploy mobile device management and patch solution products. Here we go. It's a 7-week of series, and we are now in week 3 to discuss about the asset management. And those who have missed the previous training sessions about patch management software deployment, no worries, you have the recorded video sessions onto this link, and you may download and you can just have it for your reference. So today we are going to talk about asset management, how this asset management is going to help us to simplify our complex activities in the enterprise management. So this is all about the agenda. So we are going to talk about the asset management and its architecture. And this whole webinar is based on a problem and solution approach to address the basic, mid-level, and advanced user level of details. And in order to go ahead to present this webinar in a useful manner, so we have taken 3 different scenarios from the support experience. So we are going to discuss about how to install the licenses, like how to apply the licenses for the MS Office 2016 and to manage them effectively, and to uninstall a prohibited application when it becomes a major mishap or headache onto the network, and how to avoid a non-standard or an unwanted applications launch onto the network. Followed by, we are going to discuss about a real-time scenarios which has occurred in day-to-day enterprise life cycle. And to conclude, we are going to discuss a commonly asked questions from the customers and the prospects. So coming into Desktop Central supports Windows, Mac, and Linux operating system. And we have 13,000 plus commercial applications which has been contributed by the customers, so which we have inside the Desktop Central. So automatically it would be identified as commercial application once you install it. So that has been facilitated. Looking into the Desktop Central architecture, so as you could see here, the architecture is based completely about a client and server model. So Desktop Central is a client and server model, which is capable of managing machines on LAN, WAN, and even on the roaming users. So the agent is going to contact the server in order to collect all the tasks which we create from the server, and the agent is going to be liable to carry out all the operations on the client side. So in Desktop Central, we could manage different computer types like desktops, laptops, servers, and Surface devices. And this is going to help you to manage machines on the LAN and the WAN as well as the roaming user. And as you could see here, we can use all the details about managing a machine on the distribution server, which is going to help us in a remote office where we have machines managed more than 10. So we can help the distribution server, like the distribution server is going to help us to optimize the bandwidth in order to get all the transactions from the main server. And we can also manage the direct communication, which is going to help you to directly communicate to Desktop Central if you're having machines less than 10. And similarly, we can also manage machines, those who are going to be outside the office network, like on the go, or the roaming users. We can call them as a roaming users, those who are going to be away from office, working from different locations. We can start manage them in Desktop Central. And so all these activities are going to happen with the help of the Desktop Central main server. And when we are going to manage the roaming users, we are going to use the fully qualified domain name by which we are going to move the Desktop Central to the edge and manage. And let's go ahead into the further slides to discuss much in detail about how this all happens. And agent is the essence of the complete Desktop Central management. So without agent, we cannot perform anything, as we all know. So in order to make work with the agent, so we have a list of agent installation process. So we can install the agents on the LAN with using this options of providing with the group policy with the help of a startup script, which you provide you the instructions. You can go ahead and install the agents using this option. And we can push the agent from the console from the Desktop Central console. You can select the machine and you can push the agent. So that is going to help you to install the agent successfully and silently to the target machines without notifying the user and without rebooting the machine. And of course, we can also download the agent from the console of Desktop Central, and we can store it onto a common network share folder from where we can install the agent manually or using a script, or you can take an RDP using MSTSC or VMware or any other tools, then you can install the agent. And similarly, you can also export the agent to the external medias like a USB stick or DVD CD, and you can go ahead and install the agent to the client. So moving forward with the communication, so we are seeing the same exact communication of the Desktop Central server, followed by the distribution server, the mobile user, which is going to be the roaming users, those who are going to work out of office network, and of course, the direct communications. So all things could be securedly managed from the forwarding server. So forwarding server acts as a secured gateway over here between the roaming agents and the Desktop Central server. So any communication from the roaming agents to the Desktop Central server will be routed through the forwarding server. So which means we are going to have a complete secure network. So say that it's going to be in the DMZ. It's a similar kind of a DMZ. So everybody knows about the DMZ. It's where you can place your server in a secure hosted manner so that the client machines can reach the server in a secure way. And of course, Desktop Central is going to be an on-premises application. And all the clients which is going to be in the LAN is going to be manageable within the Desktop Central server install location. However, when it comes for the distribution server and the branch office too, like it's a direct communication and a distribution server, they are going to be a closed network office, which is also called as a WAN agent, meaning that it's going to be in a branch office or a remote office of the same state or different location or different country. So that could be managed using this process. And apart from that, we have the roaming users, as we already discussed. They're going to be out of office connected through the internet, reaching all the way down to the Desktop Central server. So even if you have a VPN to be connected to your office network in order to manage all your activities, still we don't need the VPN at all. We don't rely on the VPN, or we don't work with the help of the VPN, since we have our own agent sitting on the machine. So that's going to help us to interact with the Desktop Central main server, even though you have VPN. So irrespective of VPN, we can manage the machines outside the office network using the internet. Fine. So moving across, we're going to talk about the cloud-based architecture. So since Desktop Central is going to be an on-premises model, so if you want to have the Desktop Central to be used in the cloud-based, of course, we have an instance in Azure, like Microsoft Azure and Amazon Workspace. So we have AWS as well as Azure in the space, so that you can go ahead, you can manage it. So if you're going to manage roaming users and want to have the server in the cloud, you would like to have this as your setup. Yes, you can go ahead and make use of this Microsoft Azure as well as the AWS platform. And moreover, it's going to be a cost-effective solution. So if you're going to place the device in the cloud, you can avoid the hardware infrastructure and its maintenance cost. And even if you're going to be a managed service provider, then it is going to be very easy for you to manage multiple customers managing on the cloud easily. And this requires, when it is going to be a local agent, so this all local agents are going to be communicating the cloud server using the distribution points. So if you have a distribution server for cloud in your network, it will contact the AWS or Azure instance, and your clients is going to get managed based on these communication. And you can also manage the roaming users via your distribution servers. And however, Desktop Central is yet to be launched in the cloud platform. So we are going to launch it very soon. However, we have released another management product, which is called Patch Manager Plus, which is in the cloud as of now. So here we go with the components. So we have a set of components which comes along with a product, which is going to be a Desktop Central main server, the agent, a notification server, which is going to be helpful for you for all kind of your on-demand tasks. So you want to perform any task immediately. Say that I want to take a remote of any machine and to initiate an inventory scan or a patch scan or deploy some applications or patches immediately. Yes, all happens with the help of the notification server. And so these three components are going to be mandatory or essential within the product, out of which the distribution server, it's optional. If you want, you can have the distribution server if you have your business requirement. And the forwarding server, it's going to be more secure. So if you're going to manage machines across on par away from your office network, yes, you can go ahead and use this forwarding server. And we do have a failover server, which is going to help you to manage your Desktop Central server with a contemporary server, which runs along with your main server, which is also called as a secondary server. However, it has a prerequisite of having your database to your MS SQL, and you need to have your patch store location as well as your software repository in a different server machine, not into the Desktop Central server. So if so, you can manage the failover server, followed by the language pack. So a language pack is nothing but a multi-language pack, which is going to help you to keep the localization of the complete Desktop Central in your native language. Moving towards ports. So as you all know, Desktop Central is a web-based application which is going to be accessible across the network in any machine. That's one of the major advantage of the product. So you don't need to install the product and work on the same server machine. You can access the console from anywhere across the domain. So you can access the console with the help of a port. So we need to have some ports open, and here we go with a list of ports, what you're seeing it up front on the screen. So we would recommend you to open the port shown here in order to manage the specific features with Desktop Central. For example, so you could see about the remote control port of opening 8444 and 8443. And these ports are liable for taking control in a secure manner and to have the chatting process like a voice, video, as well as the text chat, which is going to happen with the help of the port. And agent server communication happens always in the port 8020. And you can see here, that's going to be the agent server communication of 8020. And all the on-demand tasks, as we discussed earlier, it's going to take place from notification server. And this notification server, it's going to run on 8027 port. And what happens if the port is blocked on the server machine? So any patches or software deployment tasks you push from the server will not get accomplished. So you need to make sure that these ports are open in your firewall. And to know more information about the ports, you may also visit the below given URL of www.desktopcentral.com/ports in order to get more insight about the ports and its requirement. Fine. So as we all discussed again, we are going to discuss about the agent installation process. So the agent installation process, is going to happen in different manner, and the agent to server communication happens once in 90 minutes. That's going to be the refresh policy. And this policy is to ensure that it's going to contact the server and collect all the tasks which has been defined for that specific machine. And it collects all the tasks, come back, execute it, and again, it is going to post back the status to the server, like any kind of patch deployment or software deployment. It's going to install and do the job over there. And so this 90 minutes refresh policy, this is to help you, like the features ensures that all computers in the network contact the server periodically. There are two important factors are ensured by having this as a 90 minutes refresh policy. Number one, your network is not choked by the agent communication, meaning the bandwidth is not disturbed due to the agent server communication. And number two, the performance of the server is not affected at any circumstances by having the 90 minutes refresh policy. And to be more precise, I would provide you a quick information about how this works in a 90 machines network. Say that we have 90 computers in a network. So one computer will come out to contact the desktop central server for every minute. And if it is going to be a 900 computers network, so 10 computers are going to reach the server per minute. And if it is going to be a large network of 9,000 machines, then 100 machines will reach the desktop central server. So using this feature, agents can communicate the server without any hesitations. Fine. Well, so before we get into this asset management, I would also emphasize one information. Like during this presentation, you have an option to chat with our expert panel, and the panel would be glad to address all your queries. So you may just raise your queries in regard to the discussed points about the architecture, the ports, the forwarding server, and other all details. And going forward, whatever we are going to discuss in this asset management, if you have any questions, you may very well post it at any point of time. Fine. So let's move on to the asset management. So why do the enterprise require the asset management, first of all? So in order to collect all the information in the whole network, say how many machines are available, what kind of applications are installed in the network, whether they are being managed with a proper license compliance or not, and any unwanted application is running in the network which is causing some conflict with any of your business tools, or which is having some sort of a mishap into your network activities, and how many computers you manage and what kind of computer types they are, how many laptops are managed in the network, desktops, workstations, servers, all-in-ones, and varieties of computer types, what you're having. And again, whether you have any application details, you want to pull some report to get any information about the software or the hardware details, about the license model, about any kind of usage, the effective usage of application. So you need to depend on a tool to get everything done. And this information is going to be forwarded to your top management. And ultimately, this information, the report which you are going to manage about your asset management, its impacts on your business model. So we need the asset management and effective asset management to be tracked. So let's get into the engine room of asset management. So how exactly this asset management works? So as you all know that desktop central server, the agent concept. So for the very first time when you install an agent to a client machine, irrespective of LAN, WAN, or the roaming user profile, agent by default runs two basic scanning. One is PAT scan and the inventory scan. Since we are into the inventory module, let's see about what kind of scan it is exactly. So agent runs a scan onto the client machine, collects all the data, and that first scan, the very first scan is called as a complete scan. And this scan will take quick minutes to gather all the information about the hardware, software, as well as the warranty, and it collects the information and posts the data back to the server. Then again, if we're going to do another scan for the next time or the subsequent interval, if you want to perform a scan, yes, we have a scheduled scan. So that scheduled scan will help you to collect the data again, and it's not going to do a complete scan because it's going to compare the stats with the previously happened scan, which is a complete scan. So this scan is called the differential data, which is going to be posted back to the server in order to manage. Fine. So what exactly happens during this scanning process and why we need the scan? So we need the scan in order to collect all the information from a machine in terms of every detail about a hardware, software. Based on this scan, we are going to generate a report. We are going to plan accordingly, having a software planning to have whether we need to install the software or whether the software needs to be removed and the software has to be upgraded and how many machines are available with the software. So all kind of these activities are going to be done only because of the asset management. So asset management needs the scan, and this scan is going to be mandatory in an enterprise. Well, so if it comes for the scanning, so what are the different scans it's going to perform and how the scan exactly works in the background? So we have three different scans. It's going to be an schedule scan, which is going to schedule based upon the date and time. So it periodically runs a scan. And once the scan is completed, it's going to post the data back. This is a schedule scan, which is going to happen periodically. Apart from the schedule scan, I want to perform an on-demand scan. Yes, we have the second scan as known as on-demand scan. So you can go ahead, choose a specific machine or group of machine, and you can perform a scan, and you can get all the details from the machine. Apart from these two scans, we do have a third model of scan, which is called intelligent scanning. And this scanning is going to help you based upon the changes happen in the machine. Like any software which is install, uninstall, it's going to grab the complete information immediately and post the data to the desktop central server. And of course, it is also going to help you to gather the information about changes happen in the hardware, and that scan is going to be done based upon the scheduled manner in a random way. So these are the three different scans which helps us to gather all the information to manipulate. Moving forward with, so what kind of information is collected during the scan? So we are going to use a WMI query to collect all this information from a machine, and we are going to collect the information about when this machine was made or installed from reading the BIOS. And we are going to collect all the information about the hardware details. We collect the information about the software installed on the machine. We also collect about the warranty information of the machine, and we are going to post all this information back to the server. So server is going to publish all the report as it is required, and you can see all the information. And when it comes for the warranty information, once the agent is posting the data back to the warranty to the desktop central main server, it's going to come page. By referring the asset tag, it's going to download the warranty information, and that is going to get published in the UI of desktop central. And so we can go ahead, we can see that all in reality once we get into the product. Fine. So we are going to get into a first scenario of managing the Office 2016 licenses. So as we all know, Office application is one of an inevitable application which is going to be used across all the enterprise management. And using this Office application, I myself create a scenario to show you how to manage a license for an Office application. So here we go. I'm coming into the inventory model. In the inventory of Desktop Central, in the left pane, we can see Manage License. Fine. So to make it more easy, I'm just going to create a scenario of it. So in my organization, we have purchased and managing 20 Office licenses. And A new 5-member team has come into the office, and my HR has requested me to go forward, arrange a license for 2016 for these 5 members, and they are part of the finance team. So when I go install the license, install the application and manage the license for these 5 members, I just want to check how many licenses I have with me as of now. And here we go. We are going to see the details. So in the license, the managed license, when you click on the managed license, you could see all the licenses furnished in the right-hand side. And in order to add the license, we are clicking on the add license. Since agent has all the application details, all the machines which are managed in the whole domain collects all the information running an asset scan and posts the details. So we get all the information about the applications, and based on the application, you can see it's going to populate. You can get the application details here. And for the benefit of time, I'm just going to modify the existing license to show you what exactly it is. So here we go. So once we provide the information, I'm going to provide the license to whom it's licensed. And since we have 20 users already been using Office, so the 20 number of license purchase is 20. And this criteria is going to be an auto-generated from the desktop central. So do not make any changes. This is for a tracking purpose. Followed by provide the purchase date and expiry date, because using this information, we are going to help you to return back with a renewal report. A license renewal report is going to be shown to you. Followed by, you can provide all the details. And coming down, if you have already installed the application, you can go ahead, choose the machines which is liable for this license. You can select the machine and you can move it across here to choose the machines. What 20 machines you want to manage. You can choose and you can save it. So that is going to be managed. And that will show you what are the machines. Say that I do not know in which machines I install. I don't have any count. Never mind. You can just simply click on save, because Desktop Central has an intelligence to identify which machine has this Office 2016, and it's going to furnish the details. So this place is not only for an installed application. Say that I am planning to install another application. The application is not yet installed in my whole domain. However, there is a talk going on to use that application. So my account department is in the process of procuring this application. And I can go ahead, add that application manually. So as you could see here, I can go ahead, add an application. I don't need to go search for an existing application. I can go ahead, I can add an application here with application name. So an AutoCAD, which is not installed in my network. So I can go ahead, provide all the details and all the versions. While filling up all the information, I'm not going to provide the purchase date and expiry date because we haven't purchased the product yet. However, I know to whom this application needs to be associated with or mapped with. So I can go ahead and use this option of managed computers. So whatever machines I'm managing in the whole Desktop Central, I can go ahead, I can choose the machines, I can select the machines, and I can add it to the managed list, and I can save it. So once I save this application, it's going to be with a blank detail of the application information. And going forward, when I install the application after purchasing it, when I install the application, that information in the Desktop Central is going to be autofilled. So this is how it works for the license model. Fine. So coming back to our story, so we have Office 2016 and it's already been installed. So I need to go check. I need to go purchase another 5 new license to manage. But before that, I just want to give you quick information about what is meant by the license compliance. So we have 3 different license compliance in order to help you to effectively manage your licenses in the network. So it could be for any application or even for the operating system. So for example, let's take this Microsoft Office 2016. So we have in compliance. So we have an in compliance status here for the license. So what is mean by in compliance? So the number of license purchased equal to the number of installation in the network is known as in compliance. to be more precise. I have purchased 20 license. I have installed it on 20 machines. So it satisfied the rule and it's in compliance. Going forward with other model called over license. So let's take this Adobe Acrobat Reader DC. So over license, the number of license purchased is more than the number of installation in the network is known as the over license. Like I have purchased 192 license, whereas I have installed only 2 machines, still I'm having 190 machines in my hand, so it's going to be over license. So in case if anybody is raising a request to install Adobe Reader from my domain, my first point of contact is going to be the manage license, by which I can easily find out whether I have sufficient license in my hand or not. And going forward with the under license status. So the under license is nothing but the number of license purchased is less than the number of installation of the network known as under license. Meaning, I have purchased 150 license count, whereas by mistake I have installed 151 machines. So here I'm misusing the license. I am violating the license rule. When it comes for the software audit, I might be paying hefty penalty for violating the license rule. If I have Desktop Central with me, I can very well go to the list of machines. I could see all the list of machines. I can select a machine where this application is not required. I can go ahead, uninstall the application, and bring it back to the compliance status to avoid the penalty. So that's going to help me with the help of manage license. Right. So here we also have another option. Say that I'm going to use the license here. So this 20 machines are already been installed. I want to go ahead, check whether these 20 users are effectively using this license or not. Yes, I can go ahead, I can check, and that could be done with the help of software metering. And before getting to the software metering, let me show you, say that if you want to go ahead, add the same license count. I'm going and adding another set of license. Say, I'm going to add of 20 more license here, so which is going to show me the license. Like I'm having 20 new users coming inside. I want to add them over here. If it is going to be the same version of Office 2016 or any other application, yes, you can go ahead, you can add more and use it. You don't need to go and add it from the scratch over here. And you can see here, it's now with 40 license with 20 installed and 20 in hand. So earlier we saw it was in compliance, now it's going to be over license. So here we go. I can see the license details for everything. And even if you don't want to have it, you can just remove it and that will be removed and you can bring back to the license status. So this is going to be adding more license of the same version with extra count. What happens if I am going to have multiple licenses? Don't get panic. It's not a tedious job to add all the licenses here. We do have an option of importing the license, so you can make use of this sample you can see here. So this is going to be a standard format in which you can create a CSV format and you can add the details. Say if you don't want to provide this information, yes, you can just use separated by comma, which helps you to skip the value. And you can save it as a CSV, you can import it, and you can have all the licenses managed without doing any kind of manual entry. Similarly, if I'm going to have multiple applications, say I have multiple versions of Office or Adobe, I can go ahead, I can group them accordingly. So I can add a license software group provided with the group name. I can choose my operating system. I can search for a specific application to group them. For example, we have already created Office 365 group. I've added a different versions of Office 365 over here. And I have also added the following version of Office 365 automatically, meaning that I'll just mention the asterisk sign. So the asterisk sign will represent, going forward, any Office 365 versions are coming inside the network, it will get automatically added to this list and the license will be managed. And you can click on the count to see what kind of Office 365 versions you have. It's known for all the grouping of license. So this is about the license management. And you can have a column user where you can select what are the columns you want, and you can even rearrange the columns according to your choice to make it. And this place is also helps you to export this information as a PDF, CSV, and XLS for the audit purpose. Fine. So coming back to the requirement, say that I already have a pending requirement, like 5 users are coming into my network in finance department, and they need the Office 2016 to be installed, whereas I already have 20 users using this application. Since I'm having Desktop Central, I'm going to use another feature called software metering to understand how effectively these 20 users are using this application, by which I can go ahead, I can audit whether these users are using it or not. If not, I can revert the license from any of the 5 users and then roll it to my newly joined users. So let's see how this could be done. So I'm just going on with software metering. Software metering is another feature in Desktop Central, which helps you to effectively identify the usage of a machine, like an application in a machine. And for that, we are going to add a rule by choosing the application again. So it's going to populate all the applications, what you're using in the whole domain. You can choose any application, you can add it, and you can provide all the other details. So let me show you by editing this rule. So here we go. I'm going to check for the Word application, which is going to be a component in Office, to see how effectively it's being used. And you may also provide all of the details, but the rule name and the file name is very important. The file name is nothing but you have to right-click an exe file about the application. It would be available in your program files x86 if it is a 64-bit machine. It's going to be in program files if it's a 32-bit machine. So if you open a folder of that application, of specific application, say that it's Microsoft Office, if you open the folder, you'd be having this application name. Right-click and click on the properties to see the original file name and its version and provide the details. So going to read the details from there, because even if you have changed the file name, because we can very well change the file name by using rename option. So even if the file name is changed, still we can fetch the file name from the properties. So getting that information, it's going to be created in the server side. So I'm just creating this rule in the server side. On the next contact, as we all discussed about 90 minutes refresh policy of the agent. So agent on the next contact identifies there is a task available for the software metering rule is available. So it picks up the task and comes back and checks whether it has an Office. So if it has an Office application installed, it is going to observe the usage of the application. The open and close is going to be considered as a one usage. So it's going to see that application completely, and that information is going to be observed for the whole day. By end of the day, which is going to be 11:59, so 12 a.m., it's going to post the information back to the server. And this is because if it is going to observe the usage and then and there it's going to post the information back to the server, that's going to be a network overhead. So to avoid that, for the benefit of the customer's network, it's going to observe all the information and it's going to do a one-time posting by end of the day. And that information is going to be manipulated in Desktop Central server, and the report is going to get generated by next day. And here we go with the report. So 20 machines are using this application, as we know. However, it has been used for 446 times, and it has been used for 108 days and 16 hours, and so on. So when I click on this count, I can see the list of 20 machines. I can see their complete usage. So this is the usage. I can see the number of machines, how many times it has been used, how long it has been used, when it was used at last, and what is the version of that application, including its product name and version, followed by the file version. So you could see here, we have some single usage entries. So I'm going to talk to these respective users, department head, and I will revert the license, and I can provide the license to the newly joined 5 members to satisfy the rule. So this is how we can achieve by getting the license and revert it using the software metering to see how effectively an application is being used. And apart from that, even you can use this software metering for other conditions, like if you're using an expensive application without knowing who are using, the company might be spending much pennies for renewing the license year after year. If you have software metering, you can quickly check how effectively the application is being used, and certainly you might see some surprise results. You can cut short the license count to save them money. So this is all about of the managed license. And if you have any questions in regard to this module, do please chat with us, and we would be glad to assist you. Moving on to the second module. The second module, we're going to discuss about the bandwidth spike, the control bandwidth spike and non-standard application. Fine. So I'm just going to create another scenario to make it more simple. Say that in our network admin meeting, there were 2 important concerns were raised by our network admin and the security team. So a considerable amount of bandwidth was consumed by desktops, leading to an application which is causing more bandwidth spike, and the application was a torrent application. So users are using this torrent application to download and install and to have some streaming videos, which is quite some more bandwidth is being used in the network. The second concern was usage of some unauthorized applications or non-standard applications in the network, which has been identified by the network security team. So they requested to check on this information. Fine. So I'm going to be responsible for these activities, and I'm going to do my investigation to find how many users are using this torrent and how to avoid this non-standard application installation. So here we go. Let's go to the product. So coming to the inventory again, we have a feature called Prohibited software. So I'm going to address the first scenario. This Prohibited software will help you to collect all the installed application and list it out. If you find any application which seems to be fishy, or any application seems to be against the complaints of the company, you can go ahead, you can add it. So before that, I have decided to collect the whole information about how many machines are using this torrent. So for that, I'm going to use a report called Inventory Report, Computers with or without Specific Software. So this report is going to help me to choose a specific domain or a remote office or even a custom group to gather the information. So I'm going to use this report. So I'm just going to browse. I know that it's a torrent application. So I got the torrent details, and I know this is the torrent application which they are using. I'm going to generate the, my God, it's going to be 151, which is quite a good number. So I have all these machines using this 151 count. So I know that it's quite alarming situation, so I need to go arrest this. Before that, since we are inside the computer without specific software, so this report is going to help you or to get more information. Say that to get an exact information of this application. So even you can use this in different scenarios. Say I want to install some application. Before installing it, I just want to check whether this application is already installed in the network or not. I can get the details. I can see the application information. I can also export it to the PDF. Say that I want to know the application which is not installed. So what are the machines which don't have this application? It's very simple. One single click of does not equal, I can get the details. So I have 26 machines which do not have this application installed. I can export it to a PDF. With the help of a software deployment, I can create a task. I can deploy it using this option. Meanwhile, I do have other applications. If I want to look for any application which deals with this application name, say that it's like a closest value of it, I can generate a report. I can see the details. And any application which is not closest to this value. Say I know that we have some application which is from Google. I can generate a report where the Google relevant application is not installed and where the Google relevant application is installed. It could be a Google Chat or Google Talk or Google Earth or any other, even the Google Chrome browser. So however, I want to check an string value which is closest to the, so by which I can generate a report. Fine. So this helps me to understand how many machines are available here with the uTorrent. So I'm just going, I'm adding the torrent file. It gives me, once I add the torrent file, so it's going to show the list of torrents. So you can see here it's 150 machines are available. So the one machine is going to be the BitTorrent. So using this application details, now I can go ahead, I can uninstall the application. So before uninstalling it, you could see here in the installer type, we have exe and MSI. For MSI, it says not applicable, but exe it says not configured because MSI is then Microsoft installer package, as you know, and this application type has all its associated files and silent switches completely bundled within the product. So it does not require any silent switch. Whereas exe is a kind of a binary application which requires the silent switches. So we need to provide the silent switches. So you can click on not configured. It will show you where this application is available. Provide the silent switch, or if you know where this application is available, you can provide the details about the application as shown in this specimen and provide the silent switches. So once it's done, this application is now ready for uninstallation process. And similarly, I have added the silent switch for uTorrent. Now I can go ahead and uninstall it. Well, here we go. I can go select this option and I can uninstall this application. So it's going to be 5 number of applications available. So meaning that any 5 prohibited application could be uninstalled from a machine. So we recommend to keep this as a 5. If you increase it like 10 or more than that, of course we can process, but what happens is if a machine is identified with 10 number of prohibited application, this application uninstallation happens during the reboot. So during the reboot, the machine takes more time to load the operating system, so which may be a panic situation for the user. So to avoid this, we have kept it as 5, which is recommended. Fine. So you can select this option, you can save it, and this is going to help you to uninstall it. It will get completely uninstalled on all the machines after the next reboot. Say that this application is being used by some of our top management guys. In that conditions, I can go ahead, add them using a custom group or a computer to the exclusion list. Since we have our IT managers and managers are using, I'm just move them to the exclusion list. So their machines will never come under any kind of the process. Now, coming down here, I also have a set of users, those who want to use this application. For example, they want to use this application alone for some other reason. Yes, we can go ahead, provide the same process, and I can move that group, I can save it. So this group can use this application alone, whereas they cannot use other applications since it's a prohibited software. So they are allowed to use only this application. And similarly, I also want to notify my users to get this information. Yes, I am enabling this option and providing this comment, so by which this option is going to be prompted to the end users during the logon process. When it comes to the logon process, so let me show you here how this will be in the agent side. So when the agent machine is getting booted, they'll be seeing this message. A quick brush up of the workflow of prohibited software, like creating a prohibited software rule by adding the application, which is get added in the server, and the agent on the next contact picks up the value, and it's going to check on the machine to see whether this application is installed on their machine, and it could uninstall it based upon what we have defined in the server side. We can automatically uninstall. We can uninstall by intimating the user, and we can also exclude the application to be used. So this is a workflow which involves in our topic. And here we go. So once the machine is booted, so this is how you're going to get the details. So you can see the information about what the administrator has typed in, and the user can justify the reason why the application is used, and the user can send the request, and this is going to be raised over here. So this application will be raised over here, and we can check about the application details. So we can see about the application name, which user is using. We can also see approve and deny. So if I'm going to approve it, I can approve this application, click OK. It is going to be allowed for that user. If I select deny, the application is going to get denied completely. However, there might be some users, those who don't look forward for this message. They simply ignore it. In that condition, we are going to see the number of days specified here. So this is going to help us to wait for 3 days, and it is going to get uninstalled automatically on the following reboot. So by which we can completely uninstall this application from the network. And whatever applications has been uninstalled with this process, you can see the summary view. And if you want to have a quick detailed view, you can also see to which domain what application was uninstalled, which version, whether the uninstallation has succeeded or not. You can see that. And even if it is getting failed, it will also show you the reason why it got failed. So since it's an exe file and we did not provide the appropriate silence switches, it couldn't uninstall. And you can get these details for a specific remote office, the whole domain, and you can get the information. Similarly, you can also see what kind of applications are used, which are termed to be prohibited, and in which machine they are used. You can get all the details by going inside the machine count. And you can also have an audit history about the settings. So this is about a prohibited software. So now I have identified what exactly happened, and I have created a new rule for prohibited software to uninstall this torrent, so it will get removed from the next time onward. So by which I have fixed my first issue. The second issue is identifying the non-standard application. So what kind of non-standard application they have been using, and the security team has provided me a list of applications which needs to be blocked. So going forward, this prohibited software will help us to uninstall an application even if it is installed again. So it's going to be doing a periodic task of uninstalling the application if it is termed as a prohibited software here. And going forward to block an application, I'm using block executable. So this is an extended version of prohibited software which helps us to block the launch of the application. Say that I'm just going and creating the application name. I'm going to create this application for a specific custom group. So custom group is a feature in Desktop Central which helps you to create a group for selecting a set of users or computers, and you can tag them under a group, and this group could be used for any kind of deployment like patches, softwares, configurations, and even for the inventory. And if you want to make this policy available for all the machines across the domain, yes, we may go ahead and choose all computers group. So that is what I'm going to do there. So say that the application name is TSCP, which is a network monitoring tool which checks for all the file system and steals it. So I'm selecting this application and I'm adding it. So when I'm adding it, it's get added. So the application is available as of now. So this rule or policy I'm creating in Desktop Central 10 server side under the inventory, which may not be aware of the agents. So agents are not aware of this application. So the agents are going to contact the server on the subsequent refresh policy. They'll find this application, they all pick it because I'm just defining all computer groups. So all the groups come and pick the task and go back and they'll have it awaiting for the chance to block. So if any application, I mean the same application, is going to be launched by any user, it's going to get blocked completely. So what happens if a user is more techy to tweak the name of the file to 123 or abc.ext, yes, of course, the user can go ahead and install the application very well. So if the user thinks about this way, as an administrator, we should be more proactive to avoid this kind of situation. So we are going to use hash value, which is nothing but a file signature. So it's going to calculate the file signature, which is a MD5 hash value. So for that, we need to have the application available. So I'm selecting this application, which is going to calculate and identify what is its file signature value. So I'm just providing the version and the application name. Yes, it's already been added here, so you can see here. So I just added the application name, and here we go. So even if the user is seeing the value of the file, still this file cannot be launched. So it identifies in the background with the MD5 hash or the file signature value. So by which we can completely arrest the file not to be launched. So these are the two things which has been given for my task, and I have successfully achieved by using this option. Well, so now we have successfully resolved the two things, the issues which has been reported with the help of Desktop Central, prohibited software, and block executable. And this prohibited software, we can also get this prohibited software to be used in the alerts. So we have a configure alert here. In this alerts, we can also get the notification if a prohibited software is again installed in the network. So we'll talk about this prohibited software, the configure alert later. So by which I have fixed all two issues and satisfied the rule. Fine. So if you have any questions on the second scenario, I would recommend you to please raise a request in the chat to get it addressed. So moving towards the third scenario of planning Windows 10 upgrade. So Windows 10 is now mostly a common operating system which has been used for upgradation process, because Windows 7 is going to get stopped with a service in the future. So Windows 10 is going to be used in common. So most of the enterprise are now in process of upgrading to the Windows 10. So when they're going for the Windows 10 upgrade, so what are the prerequisite activities we need to check? What are the measures needs to be done before we do the Windows 10 upgrade, and how this Desktop Central inventory is going to help us? So let's go back and check how this all happens. So I'm just taking you back to my inventory reports. So we have a set of reports here. I'm just going to the reports, and we have set of reports. As you could see here, it's an inventory reports. So we have a report based upon computer by operating system, which shows what kind of machines are running in the network. Say it's a Windows 8 or Windows Vista, Windows 7, Windows 10, Ubuntu, Mac OS. So all these activities we can get it. Computers by its manufacturer, which shows who is the manufacturer of the machine, and memory usage. So what kind of memories are installed in the network? So you can see here. So even if you want to quickly get a report to see or to upgrade your memory, say wherever a memory is running with 1 GB, you want to upgrade to 2 GB or 4 GB, yes, this report is going to be very helpful because it gives a split with a trending of less than 512 to greater than 4 GB. And similarly, we also have a disk usage report, which helps you to show the disk usage. And more effective report is the computers by age, which is going to show you the age of the machine, like when the machine was installed in the network. And we have a separate scenario to discuss about it. And forward by, you can see a device type, a list of machines, what kind of device it is, whether it's going to be a laptop or it's a desktop, it's all-in-one. You can get all the details in this place. So likewise, you also have a software reports, which is going to help you by software by manufacturer, recently installed software, and we have a separate report about the prohibited software, software usage by computers, even the product key, the computers with or without specific software, which we have discussed. And we also have a software metering rules report and user-based software and licensed renewal report. So this is a report which is going to help you to show you what kind of applications which are about to get renewed. You can see the summary view and the detail view. So these are all the applications which got already expired, and any application which is about to expire in 5 days to 2 months time period, and you can also even create a custom period to get this report done. So this report is going to be more handy for you, and this report is called as a canned report. So we call it as a canned report because these report are ready-made report. Fine. So but now I want to check whether my machines are capable or eligible to upgrade to the Windows 10. So these reports will help me to show about everything. However, I'm going to use a custom-based report. A custom-based report, if none of the canned report is going to help you, you can come and you can create a custom-based report by creating a column, criteria, and the column list over here. You can generate a report in terms of computers for any kind of a computer name, IP address, or domain name, and hardware reports to check about the hardware components of your memory, processor, or network cards, hard drive, and software in terms of software name, version, manufacturer. You can get this report. Well, so using this custom report, I'm going to generate a report, and let me show the report, what this report is all about. I'm just going to create a Windows 10 upgrade report. So let me show how this report is being defined. So here we go. So my concern about upgrading the Windows 10 machine is, so I need to have a machine with 4 GB and more memory in order to process the operating system of Windows 10, since Windows 10 requires more memory to work with. And similarly, the hard drive space. So Windows 10 requires at least 20 gig of space to have all its associated application and Microsoft Store apps and components and everything. So it requires more information, and followed by the warranty. So I need to have a valid warranty reason to at least work with the Windows 10. So I need to specify the warranty details. Coming down, I can provide the computer name, its memory size, the disk space, and the warranty detail, which is more important for me to view. So by which I can define which machine I want to upgrade. So I'm just running a report. Here we go. So I have the report based upon this, and I have 143 machines are ready for the upgrade. Good. So but now I know that these are all the machines which are ready, but I do not know where these machines are available, to which department this machine is belongs to. So for that reason, I need to go generate another report, whereas that report is going to be an Active Directory report. So I can go ahead, use my Active Directory report to see the AD-based information. But again, I cannot get the report. I can go get the report about my OU reports. So what kind of OUs I have, because my departments are classified as OUs. I can go get the OU report or user report, computer report, domain, and group report. So every report I can generate, and this reports I can generate by using the option of editing, selecting the AD report scheduler, choosing my domain, and I can also provide my email address so I can get the report. So this is a scheduler which is going to run on every Tuesday and Friday, and if you want, you can just modify the report. So this is going to provide a report based upon your Active Directory only. So say that I can generate a report of Active Directory to find my OUs. I can generate a report in custom group to see which machine it is, but I cannot associate both these reports because two different reports are available. So now I'm just going to use the query report. I'm just going to use the query report. So here we go. A query report is something which is going to help you to construct a query in terms of SQL language. So here we go. I have already created a query just to show you. So this is a query. So using this query, I'm just going to map two different values of the machines which are available with the appropriate criteria, followed by to which domain or which OU they belong to. So I'm just going to run a report. So here we go. So all the machines which was available there is associated to the departments, which is my OU. So here we go. These are the departments. So now I have generated this report. I can export it as a PDF or CSV, present it to my accounting department to go ahead, procure the license for these many machines, and then I can go ahead and deploy the operating system. So this is going to help me to get the job done of what I was looking for. However, in the reports, all these reports which we have discussed, like the CANE reports, custom report, query report, it's an on-demand report. Apart from the on-demand report, we do have a scheduled report. So you can have a scheduled report like you can have a weekly asset report. You can come down, you can select what kind of reports you want, especially if it's going to be an inventory. You can get some inventory reports or prohibited software or soon to expire warranty, and you can get the reports according to choice. And you can also customize the reports. You can customize the reports according to your choice. Say that it's the physical memory is greater than 4 GB. So I can use this option. Similarly, I can choose in which format I want to receive the report, how this has to be sent. If it's 3 or 4 reports, I can send it as an attachment. Say that my manager is looking for multiple reports, even on the patches and even on the domain reports. So it's going to be more reports. I cannot send it as an attachment because my email carries only 5 MB of an attachment. So I'm just going to zip it. So what happens if my manager is asking more number of reports in all 80 reports, and he's looking for the patch reports, all the patch reports. So it's going to have a long list of reports, whereas I cannot truncate this report. So I'm going with the URL method. So this URL is going to be sent. How many report you're choosing, no worries. You can just use this URL, and this URL will be sent to the appropriate recipients where you can provide whom you want to send and when you want to send. So say that this report is going to be reached on 8 o'clock of every Monday. Yes, it will send this report in terms of URL. When you click on the URL, it will ask you the credential of Desktop Central. Providing the credential, it will help you to show all the reports. So this is all about of the third module of upgrading to Windows 10 upgrade. So if you have any questions, do please raise it. And let's enter into the scenarios and solutions right away. So how do we interpret the scanned asset data in Desktop Central? Fine. So what are the information which we gather in Desktop Central and where we could see that information? So here we go. Come to the inventory module and click on the computers. You can see all the machine details in this place. You can see all the informations of the machine and just click on the machine detail, and that's going to show you the complete insight of who's the owner of the machine, which domain it belongs, how many hardware software is available, the warranty information of the manufacturer, the disk usage, the network adapters, the operating system, including its CD key. It also shows what kind of services, users, groups, and shares available in the machine, what kind of hardware components available. For example, even you can get a slot available in the physical memory, and softwares installed in the whole domain, including the Microsoft App Store, like Store apps, and file details. If any kind of non-corporate data is available, you can also get that information like movies, photos, and everything. And you can also get the security details about your BitLocker status of a disk drive, the antivirus status, the firewall information, and even the missing patches. And on top of it, we also provide you the USB audit report about in which machine this USB was used, and we can get all the information about the machine. So we can get the information saying that which machine was using this USB details, what kind of device it was, which user was using, what the device type, the manufacturer, its device instance ID, followed by when it was connected, disconnected, how long it was used. You can get the report. Along with it, you can also get the report about the recently changes happened in the machine, like any hardware is added, removed, software is installed, uninstalled, and along with the user logon details. So this can be processed from the computer's view. I want to proactively resolve hard disk space issues before the user reports them. Is this possible? Yes, of course. So we have a report of disk usage. You can go ahead in the disk usage, and you can see the summary view, the detail view, and in the summary, in the detail, you can see about the machine and all its drive spaces and its utilization and its free space. In the summary view, you can go ahead, you can provide a disk space criteria, and you can get the job done with the users. Hard disk space issues could be resolved. I want to add additional information about my computers to the asset data. Is this possible? Yes, of course. So when we are talking about the machine details, like coming to the computers, you can see the list of information about all the information about the machine, like the logged on user, the operating system, everything is captured from agent. However, we also have this pin icon, which is going to be a customized data. You can provide the location, the owner, the search tag. If you have any local or internal inventory number, you can provide all the details. And do not change the shipping or expiry date, because if it is changed, then we will stop doing a scanning, understanding that you want to maintain this data according to your choice. And you can provide the note and you can save it. So this information is going to be published here, and it's not required to be manually doing all the machines. So you can just use the CSV method. Again, the same format. You need to provide this format, add everything in the CSV, import it. That will automatically get all the details about the owner and location. The custom data field will be filled automatically. We have an IT policy of decommissioning system every 5 years. How do I get a list of those computers? Yes. So this we already discussed about the inventory reports of this usage. So this usage report will show you about when this machine was installed, and this information is captured from the BIOS in the terms of BIOS release date. So by which you can easily understand. And if you want to decommission machines older than 2014, yes, we have 5 machines, and you can click on that machine to see those 6 machines and the 5 machines, and you can export it as a PDF, CSV, XLS, and you can do necessary changes. Shared directory with write access is a security threat, of course. Can we identify them? Definitely. So when you're creating a shared directory, you may not know what kind of directory value you have created. So when you come to the inventory reports in Desktop Central, so this will show you the shared details. It will show you whether the permission has been provided with read, write, and full control. So this is going to be more vulnerable. So you can go ahead, you can quickly change the value for this user with a read, write provision, or you can provide only the read permission. Dropbox is installed at the user level and would like to get the list of computers that have it installed. How do I identify it? Well, so Dropbox is a kind of an application which will be installed for a user level. It's a user profile installation process. If it is installed as a user profile, if an administrator logs into the machine, the administrator cannot see anything in the add remove program, because the administrator should log in as the installed user account. So which is going to be more tricky. So you may not be able to fetch any information about a user-based application installed, or the user installed that application like a Dropbox or a cloud-based application. So that could even, the user may collect all the information and upload it to their location. So when you have Desktop Central, the Desktop Central user-specific software report will show you all these applications. Even the store apps or any kind of application which was installed can be easily figured out. And it will show you what is the version, and the detailed view will show like which user has installed this application with the user domain. I want to identify the computers with local administrator accounts. Is it possible? Yes, of course. So the same way, when we go down to the inventory reports, we have an option to get a report with the system access. So this report will help us to know about who has the administrator account permission. You can see here, this machine has an administrator account permission. So we can easily get this report. I want to see the list of Mac-based applications in the network and the details of such computers. Yes. When you come to the inventory, you can see all the application details, like based upon operating system. You have a list of operating systems with a different operating system with the vendors, like Microsoft, Mac, and Ubuntu. So you can get all the details about the Ubuntu and Mac details. I want to run an internal audit in a company to identify computers, users having movies, music, files. Yes. So as we already discussed over here, so we can go ahead, we can use the schedule scan, and it's where we can find the file scan option. So using this file scan option, you can schedule it. So this file scan will help you to go run a quick report to see what kind of applications the users are using. And with the help of this application details, you can see the user's usage count of non-corporate data. So let's move on to the commonly asked questions. And quickly, let's talk about, do we need to install both Asset Explorer agent and Desktop Central agent in all the systems? We are having service requests with System Tool plugin. Well, so we don't need the Asset Explorer or Service Desk Plus agent on the machine, because Desktop Central is capable to have all the ability. And the reason to have integrating Desktop Central and Service Desk Plus is to post the real-time data from Desktop Central agent to Service Desk Plus, because Desktop Central has a robust scanning process, which will be discussed in detail in the going forward with the future webinar of Desktop Central and Service Desk Plus integration. When you add a program to the prohibited software list, does it take all the version of the software into account? Or do I need to update the prohibited software list every time a new version is released? Yes, of course. So this what makes sense here. So if I'm going to add Adobe Acrobat 12, so all the 12 versions will get prohibited. So I don't want to do all the 12 versions. I want to do only Adobe Acrobat 12.1 as prohibited, whereas 12.2 needs to be used by my users. So for that reason, yes, of course, we need to input each and every version of the application to get prohibited. So it's not going to block it based upon the whole title value. If the software that you want to prohibit is not already on your network, how can I block it using Desktop Central? Fine. So we have already discussed about how to handle things in block executable. You can make use of the block executable to use blocking the application, adding the policy. What data is used to determine that the computer's warranty has expired? So we have a separate report in Desktop Central inventory, which is going to be expired warranty. So we have a separate report to show you what kind of machines which are completely expired with a warranty. And not only that, we can also show you another report in soon to expire warranty and unidentified computers, which can help you to find what kind of computers are available in the network and which machines are going to get soon to get expired, like in 5 days to max of 2 months. On the inventory report of computers without specific software, how to specify filter criteria and schedule them. Well, so as we already discussed about the schedule reports, the same computers with or without specific software could be scheduled under the inventory. You can go use this report and you can specify the criteria of the software name equal to any of the versions. You can use this application name and you can get that added. Does Desktop Center detect what software is installed on each machine and if it is licensed? Yes, of course. When an application is installed and if you're adding that application in managed license, obviously it's going to provide the license details. And similarly, does it detect the ability to detect the product? Does it have an ability to detect the product key for each software license? Yes, of course. It detects all the software product keys, and we have a separate report in inventory to show you the information. So we have a software product key report. This will show you the report for the product keys of the installed application. Is it possible to be notified if someone tries to install a prohibited software? Yes, of course. So you can go ahead, you can configure the alerts. In the prohibited software, you have an option of configure alerts. You can provide to whom you want to send an email, and you can also send a warning email to the user. And you can also use the user's email address if it is configured in AD, or use an email if it is not configured in AD. You can manually provide the email address and you can send it. So meaning that if any user who's using prohibited software, they'll be getting the notification. Apart from that, we also have configured email alerts in which any changes happen in the hardware, like any hardware is added, removed software, install, uninstall, prohibited software is uninstalled, and a managed license, which is already expired, but still it's being used. If it is, then you have a small window here where you can provide an email address to get it notified. And similarly, if you're an existing Service Desk Plus customer, then you can get this all details automatically logged in as a ticket in Service Desk Plus, and that will be discussed in Desktop Central and Service Desk Plus integration modules. So we have come to the end of the session, and by the way, we are going to host a seminar on Desktop Central along with all kind of the endpoint security seminar, which is going to deal with the Desktop Central products and how to eliminate the vulnerable activities which is happening in the enterprise with the help of Desktop Central and all of the its associated applications. So you can just reserve your spot on to Orlando on March 6th, Ashburn on March 8th, Houston 13th, and Dallas on 15th. So you can get this information, and for more information, you can reach us through the chat. And we have come to the end of the presentation, and trust the presentation was helpful about to get a hold of asset management. So if you'd like to rate us, you can rate us in terms of 1 to 5, where the 5 is going to be the best rate. And if you'd like to spread a word about Desktop Central, just please add this hashtag and you can use this in the social media. And the next training is all about a remote control. To know about the remote control settings, which is going to happen on next Wednesday of 14th of February at 6:30 GMT for Europe, Middle East, Asia, and Australia. So for the APAC, and 11:30 Eastern Daylight Time for USA, UK, Canada, and Mexico. So I request you to please stay tuned for this remote control to get more insight about its effective usage. And thank you again for your active participation. You all have a great day. Bye-bye.